not for the provision of Zimbabwean labor. It's for the provision of Zimbabweans owning healthcare-related business to supply part of that 152,000 workers. We become too myopic as businesses because when someone opens a donkey, everyone wants to open a donkey. But there's more to healthcare than just a donkey. There's more to healthcare than just supported living. A lot of other services depend on the healthcare. So we need to think outside the box to see. This is just the average income which we get. But then here today we are talking of the pathway to value creation. What is it? We are talking of those billions. How do we convert these billions in the mind to become part of our bank account? It's not an easy journey. This is where most of the mistakes happen. People will end up saying the healthcare sector is not viable. It is viable, but like anything else, there is a formula to getting there. You need to gain the experience. I have no disrespect for people who have been recruited from overseas. I do consultants business. I have seen people sponsored from Zimbabwe, whatever business they were doing or work they were doing in Zimbabwe. 6 months down the line here, they are carers. They've already opened the consultants business. We have a lot of them. And we've got also a lot of businesses which have gone down or under as a result of using these people. So my first point is, whichever area, let's gain the experience. When you gain the experience, then you are able to share. Through the management process, you don't necessarily, or what I'm saying here, if you are an investor within the healthcare sector, you don't need to personally do these value addition programs. You can employ someone. You can find someone already qualified. I have talked about Richard Branson, who owns quite over 100 Boeings and Airbus and everything. But do you know what? By law, he is not even allowed to touch a button in any of the cockpits because he's not licensed. But he is the owner. What he only identified, he had a vision, he didn't have the qualification, he didn't need for people to do it. So to get into the healthcare sector, you don't necessarily need yourself to be the manager the way I was for 19, 20 years. You don't necessarily need to be the social worker. You can find someone who goes through this value chain. Then you get in at the point of setting up, because most people, they don't follow the proper procedures within the healthcare sector. We hear, the Zimbabwean sentiment that there's money here, there's money there. Everyone wants to come in without going through the proper procedures. So when you set up the business, you then need to scale and invest. And there are people who are going to be talking about sponsorship licenses and so many things. We've got a lot of organizations which brought people here whose sponsor licenses are being revoked for various reasons. But some people who have scaled, they've broadened so that when your license is blocked in this department, it doesn't affect the other areas of your business. It's quite important when you are setting up. So, what is it which you need to know before you invest? We have CQC, we've got Ofsted, we've got Home Office, we've got Skills for Care. For those in Scotland and Ireland and Wales, we've got similarly established regulators. And one of the issues which is coming up, I think for those who are in the social media, you know, Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp, they've been fined heavily for failing, and those who know the Cambridge scandal, people have failed to manage data. So before we jump into this business, we need to set up registration with the regulator. And unfortunately, I was even following Andrew Nyamayaro on Facebook when he announced the other week that 296 healthcare providers' licenses were revoked just because here I'm talking about compliance. The revocation doesn't just come because they hate us, it's that we are failing to comply. So as health and social care providers, if we want to build our portfolio, let's feel and follow and be compliant. Then all this what I'm talking about is UK, but we are here as UK business. Where do we get in? With all these skills, this is what now we need to do. Building the impact across the oceans now. 30 years of that experience need to be titrated down to go to Zimbabwe. Because with 200,000 people here and 30,000 working in the healthcare sector, we cannot fail to set up systems to support our own people in Zimbabwe. But due to bad publicity, there is always this political mileage whereby I just divert a bit. Yesterday, I was in an interview for a tender which we won for one of the biggest providers. Because we were representing this provider, we had 10 questions to answer, and I was caught unaware with one question which I never even heard. So I stumbled to answer. After the meeting, the provider came to me and said, I think we've failed. And I said, why are you saying we've failed? He said, that question, even myself, I didn't know. Even in the paperwork, it was not there. I said, yeah, it was not. Then later on in the evening, when I was here, she phoned me. She said, oh, did you see the email? We've succeeded to the next round. I said, no, I didn't see the email. The point I'm talking about is, out of 10 questions, we failed one. But what he did not see are the 9 correct answers. After the interview, all he said is, we have failed because of that one question, which is exactly the situation with Zimbabwe. One thing doesn't go on politically correct. We focus on it, and the other 9 things about the good weather, the good systems, the hospitality, the good... We don't look at that. We then begin to say, Zimbabwe systems are not okay. You go there, we hit the bumps, we hit the roads. That's all that becomes important. So, if that image is what the health and social care providers are getting into, building business and portfolios, I've got bad news for you. Zimbabwe is not going to change for you. You have to be part of the change. To join Zimbabwe, set up the related business, negotiate with those systems which we are saying they don't work. And 99% of people who say systems don't work, do you know what? They've never tried it themselves. They always hear from someone.
That's right.
I've done it, it doesn't work. And they also conclude that they don't work. So, all these, you are not going to have a CQC and an hostage in Zimbabwe because the system is different. What you need to do is to go and understand how the Zimbabwean system works, because there are people. We then formulate a system and work. I'm not a politician, so I'm not representing any political party, but I'm representing a government where my mom is with Zimbabwe, my daughters and sons in Zimbabwe, they are being affected by the policies. So if what I'm doing here can influence decisions making there in Zimbabwe, I'll have done well. I generate my income from the health sector. I will not go in Zimbabwe and start to want to operate a mine. That is why most people then, you are here as a whatever industry you are working in, and you land in Zimbabwe, you hear that mining is paying off. You jump into mining, you have never seen even an ounce of gold, how it looks like, and you are investing. You don't succeed, then we blame the country. So some of these things, in our language, they say, do and invest in an area where you have good knowledge. If I go to Zimbabwe now, which is what we are doing, we are at high level negotiation. The systems are different, we have to be patient. That's why we have got the likes of my sister Edna there. Go and be linked with other people. That's how Zimbabwe works. If you have got an interest of stating that you are not going to go onto a tender portal, have everything the way it works here. So let's take these skills, establish private care homes. I've got one of our church members. Her mom right now is in Harare in a care home. Our system has broken down. We are slowly no longer having a system where people are being looked after at home. How many of you are sending money through the various platforms which we are seeing here? For drugs, for medication, for everything. But because we are relying on systems we left, for some of us we left 1998 or so. We are still thinking of the 1998 systems. 30 years ago, things have changed. There's no longer your uncle who is sick, who is going to be looked after by someone. Who is going to be looking after them when you here, with all your children, you are here. So care homes are beginning to, home care on itself. I've got some investments in Bulawayo myself, so I'm from Bulawayo, and that's where I live. There is a company which is really doing very well home care, supporting people. You are paying from, we are paying them here to go and do health-related services. We've got some people who have set up hospitals. I've seen one on YouTube in Marodera. I've seen some pharmaceuticals being set up by people who are here. So we are now needing to move and transition. Training, we've been here for years. But you cannot go into Zimbabwe and start training as if you are just in UK. We have to follow the laws of the country, work with the Ministry of Health, get registered by the Ministry of Education, because that is how Zimbabwe works. And those who are following the ways, they are eating both ways, here and in Zimbabwe. And it's happening. The only thing is we do not have the exposure. I will focus mainly on the healthcare sector, the provision of medications. Register with the local, with the authorities in Zimbabwe, import the required, get into the systems, so that we are using our income generated from UK businesses and set up in Zimbabwe. But my word to you, there is digital health. There is a group which is called the AI infrastructure, because I am into AI myself. We are already investing into AI. We are setting up AI for health in Zimbabwe. So for those who are interested, you can see me, we join that group. Because AI is not going anywhere. And AI doesn't mean ChatGPT. For those who saw the news yesterday, the war in Iran is being fought via AI. It's being controlled in America. Operations are being done from India. If you saw the one last week, they did a fetus operation, while the people were in India doing the operation in America. AI is identifying your potential to get cancer by just diagnosis. So AI is not about going to ChatGPT and just asking questions. It's more than that. And within the healthcare sector, let's get in. Our government is open, but let's also remove this negativity of thinking Zimbabwe is going to be built for you while you are seated here at Daventry. No. If you are prepared, be like an investor. Let's move away from the thinking that most of the African thinking of you need to set the business so that you will enjoy the fruits. Be like the Romans. They built a road without guarantee that they are going to use it. And if you look into UK, if you have got history, all the roads which were built during the Roman times are the roads which are not giving you any problems up to today. These roads which are just giving us problems, we are building them. So let's have that ZIM-UK network with the hope that the businesses you are setting up, you might not enjoy the fruits in your lifetime. If we have got that mentality, we will go somewhere. I will not want to go into the issues around remittances and because there are organizations who do that. I can see Ukuru, there's Drink and Pay, There are all those who are, when we generate our money, we will remit it back into our country. Then, the challenges are two-pronged. I'm going to be talking of challenges here in the UK. Those who want to set the healthcare business sector, because there's 56 billion to be part of, you need to follow. Register with CQC or Ofsted, access to finance and capital. Itai is here, who joined our health and social care providers network. He is working, providing finance, bridging, and whatever is needed, businesses who need to grow and expand. Most of us, we set the business, we register, and we are like here, or we are like rabbits caught in light. Suddenly with the business, we don't know what to do. That's one of the issues. Let's have the business plan, and the business plans are not for your drawer. Most of them, you register and you keep it in your drawer, and when you've got a tender, that's the day you take it out. That's not how the business works. It needs to be live, direct, access to capital, workforce and sponsorship issues, which I wouldn't want to delve into because it's not what I'm here for, but you need to overcome these issues. For those who are in Surrey, where we are in Sussex, the local authority is called the providers. All those who have got more than 60% of your staff as sponsored foreign workers, you are being encouraged to reduce that number. How? That's another issue. We are at 60% for a reason, and magically they are thinking we are going to suddenly get rid of the 60% and then cover. But that's reality. Local authorities are doing what is called risk rating. They are grading every organization. If you have got more than 60% of your staff as foreign workers who have sponsored license, if that license is revoked and you have got 300 clients, they are managing a risk for their clients rather than anything else. There's nothing rational about it. It's a business model and it's a business decision. So you need to have your workforce in place. Cultural and language issues and barriers. We are having a lot of problems here. We've brought people from Zimbabwe who, some of them, depending on where they grew up, who have never had come face to face or who have worked under any person who is of white origin. So when they come here, they already have an inferiority complex, even if they are superior. So we are working a lot to acclimatize, to let them people know, to know the language, what to use. Our Zimbabwean people especially, they have got a loving character. But you don't go around in England and tapping people, and that will be classified as unwanted contact. Our people don't know. So we've got a lot of other things to teach our own people who are, when they come here, because they constitute more than 50% of most of your employees anyway. So we have got a lot to do. But when you get into the industry, we also have the last thing which I'm talking about. Tendering. We've got a lot of experienced providers here within the healthcare sector. But if you, last year only, through Care Quality Support, our organization, we registered 305 companies. 305 companies registered between CQC and Ofsted. I can stand in front of you here. Less than 50% of those have more than 2 clients. They are just there. Some of them are now dormant. Some of them are giving up for various reasons which I've talked about. That when you set your business, make sure you have done your homework. So tender writing and NHS, I remember the night the tender for NHS was closing, I was doing one tender and I phoned Tuko. I was asking him that this tender is closing tonight. How far have you gone? And he was also struggling, saying, Brun, I'm also struggling to meet the deadline. So this is the coordination we need. It's 56 billion. You are never going to finish it anyway. We need to be together to win it. So let's collaborate and let's work together so that whatever you now need to set up in Zimbabwe will be, it might not be healthcare, but healthcare is your egg, which is your head, which is laying the eggs here. Then you can invest in other things in Zimbabwe. So my last point is, what's your next step now? Here we are. You need to do your research. You need to network strategically. You need to be coming to events like this. By the end of the day, you have a number for someone who have not met. I already got 2 today. For the people whom I have not met, we have already exchanged numbers. So some of the persons, for those who slept here overnight, I have met 2 people who are upstairs on a church conference. We have already exchanged numbers. If I was not here, I was not going to talk to them. They said they are from Judge Lee in Birmingham, and they are actually setting up a supported living. They were looking for someone, but they are upstairs there. They are church. There are more than 300 people up there in a conference. So you can see the potential of networking. I might not benefit personally here, but when these events like this are instituted, let's come and support. Let's become members and think transitionally. When you go to Zimbabwe, follow Zimbabwean regulations. Associate, ask those who are on the ground, and make sure the Indaba in August you are going to be part of it. And I would encourage you, let's remove the negativity of saying Zimbabwe. It will never be well. Zimbabwe will never be, if you are given life for the next 50 years, the Zimbabwe you see will not be even a quarter of what you see here in UK. Unless you participate yourself, contribute, teach, and that teaching also starts from your own children. Value the country. We have the people who are even going to Zimbabwe because we also do a lot of shipping. I'm not talking about shipping today, but I can tell you when it's August, holiday time, we do a lot of shipping of food from here to Zimbabwe. Parents saying their children don't eat Zimbabwean food. It's a calamity. But this is all I had for you today. My encouragement is let's build value. Let's then transition this value from UK to Zimbabwe. If you've got an interest in Zimbabwe like myself, if you've got interest in farming like myself, because I'm not into healthcare sector in Zimbabwe, I am into farming because for those who know, by qualification, I'm an agriculture scientist. Always in agriculture, it will never come out of you. Healthcare is where the money is coming to grow my Zimbabwean business. So I do give thanks to the ZIM-UK Business Chamber giving me the opportunity. So for those who are interested in the healthcare sector, let's come and reason together. There is no competition. That 56 billion, you will never, ever, ever make a dent on it. Even if all of you here, we are not 56, even if you are given a million each, we will never do it. We can only make a dent by working together, supporting each other, forming honest relationships. Thank you.